Okay, we're gonna take a few minutes and go through some hip stretches. So our hips get really tight when we run, our hips get tight when we sit too much. So it's really important that we give them some attention in our mobility practices. So I'm gonna go through a sequence of hip stretches here that get the hip in all different directions. So first we're gonna start in a low lunge. So our front leg's at 90, back leg's at 90. And here, I just want you to think about tucking your pelvis forward, and this gets that deep psoas muscle here in our hip flexors. And with all of our stretches, I want you to take a few deep breaths. So in through your nose, and then on every exhale, you release tension in that muscle. Then from here, what I want you to do is create a rotation through your spine. So bring your hands together, and then that opposite elbow comes to your knee, and then you're gonna rotate and look up at the ceiling. So just bring your eyes up and let that go. And you can grab your opposite foot. Grab your foot with your opposite hand. Get some stretch in the quad. If this bothers your knee, then you don't need to do this one. Then come down, drop that leg down, and then you're gonna bring both hands to the inside of your knee. This is a lizard pose here. So that knee comes more out to the side, and then if you can, bring your elbows right down. Again, just releasing it a little bit further each time so that knee is out to the side, and elbows come down. Then rock back. Sorry, you don't have to shift around as much. I'm just making sure you can see it very well. And then you sit back, and then you're gonna get a hamstring stretch here, and then relaxing forward, so your chest is coming forward onto that front leg. Then you can come up into a high lunge, so that back leg is now straight. My opposite hand is on the ground, and I rotate again through my spine, looking up to the ceiling. That back leg is pressed straight, so now it changes that stretch more into the deep glute. And I slide over into a deep side lunge. If you can't come down this far, that's fine. You can keep it a little bit higher, as long as this foot stays flat on the ground. I release it, come up into a ragdoll, so my legs are still wide. And then I release, ragdoll. Then I slide over, and I finish in a pigeon pose. So that shin comes down, my knee comes towards the same side hand, and then you relax right down onto the ground. And I'll take a few extra breaths here in pigeon, and I would rest right down on my hands. And then you flip around and do the other side. All of those are more external rotation through the hips. So you also want to stretch the internal rotation. So we call them 90-90s or windshield wipers. So you windshield wiper, your back knee is trying to come down to the ground if you can. So do this one moving and trying to go a little bit further each time. If it doesn't bother your knees as well, you can hold that 90, and then you're trying to rock that hip down onto the ground. And then switch, you can go the other side and rock that hip down onto the ground.